My fellow Georgians, I'm Harold Jones, the Democratic Senate Minority Leader in the Georgia State Senate. I was born in Honolulu, Hawaii, but raised in Augusta, Georgia, home of Fort Eisenhower and the godfather of soul, James Brown. Like most Georgians, I come from a middle and working class family. My father was in the Air Force, and my mother was a teacher. Tonight, I am honored to speak with you about how we can make Georgia work for everyone, and not just the few. As the minority leader, along with the Senate and House Democrats, I understand it is our job to fight for middle and working class families. So let's take a few minutes and talk about Georgia. Unfortunately, under this administration, two Georgias have emerged. There is a Republican Georgia, which has only valued corporate interests and profits. And there is a Georgia where hardworking people work 2 and 3 jobs, but still struggle to pay their bills, afford good housing, afford better medical care, or take care of their family members in their time of need. And many of our fellow citizens are one financial emergency away from ruin. See, there are families all across Georgia, from Dalton to Valdosta, Columbus to Savannah, or Augusta to Atlanta, who face difficult economic choices. Tonight, there are mothers and fathers who are burdened because of child care costs. Tonight, all over this state, there are Georgians who cannot afford to buy a home because of rising housing costs. And those who are in apartments could face eviction because of skyrocketing rental costs. Tonight, there are over 500,000 hardworking, uninsured Georgians who cannot afford good medical care. Georgians face real problems that deserve real solutions. Unfortunately, this administration and Republicans in the General Assembly have not given us any solutions. You see, to them, the only thing that matters is Georgia's the #1 state to do business. And we should be proud of that achievement. But what the administration and Republicans fail to realize is that Georgians dream bigger than that. Republicans and the governor fail to understand how to value people, not just profits. Georgians want a state where we're the #1 state for public education. We're the #1 state for health care, the #1 state to afford a home, and above all, be the #1 state to raise a family. Georgians have that vision, and it is a vision I have, and so do Democrats in the Senate, the House, and the Democratic Party. Now, some will say we cannot achieve that vision. They will point to the fact that the governor refuses to close the health care coverage gap and allow hardworking Georgians access to health care. They will point to the fact that this administration's refusal to expand health care means 500,000 Georgians will go without health care. It will cause rural hospitals to close and medical professionals to leave the state. Some will say the vision cannot be obtained because they see that child care costs are rising above the national average, that housing costs continue to rise, and they just do not see on the agenda that people matter over politics. I would say you're looking at the wrong agenda. The Democratic Senate agenda is simple. People matter, you matter, and your family matters. Governor Kemp's agenda does not work for families. Our agenda does. We don't want you to have to choose between working and providing child care for your children. We propose policies to meet this challenge. We want to increase CAPS eligibility. We want to use a portion of that $16 billion surplus that the governor currently sits on. Republicans want to use that money to help corporations. We want to use that money to help you. Real investment in our child care system will achieve the vision to make Georgia the best place to raise a family. We believe affordable housing is important. It is an investment in you, an investment in our workforce, and above all, an investment on our communities. We can achieve this vision by reducing barriers to building housing and providing incentives for investment in workforce and middle-class housing. Unlike this administration, we look at housing as a way to invest and improve our community, not as a way to allow corporate landlords to drive up the cost of your rent and mortgage. We understand that health care is not a handout. It is a necessity to living a vibrant and productive life. Because it is a necessity Georgians deserve the peace of mind that quality, affordable health care coverage brings, no matter their zip code. And this burden of medical debt that so many Georgians have or fear having is not right, and it can be eliminated. But the governor will not give up on his Pathways program. This program has only been a pathway to failure, a pathway to more medical debt, a pathway to deprive Georgians access to health care and improving the healthcare system overall. Why Republicans refuse to move on Pathways is beyond comprehension. It is time to end this failed and costly Pathways program and give Georgians real access to health care and save the healthcare system in Georgia. And more than that, Governor Kemp and Republicans will increase insurance premiums of millions of Georgians by 85% if they get rid of President Biden's tax credits for the ACA premiums. We must take action to stop Georgians from facing premium increases of almost $17,000 a year. The Georgia Senate Democrats believe making Georgia the #1 state is achieved through good public education, and it can work in every community, no matter their zip code or income. It is clear the Republicans in this administration do not believe in public education. They've consistently underfunded public education. Worst of all, last year Republicans passed legislation to allow your tax dollars to be used to pay for private schools. This legislation will decimate rural education and cripple our education system for decades. We and you want our state dollars to go to public education. We want to invest in the future of Georgia by investing and promoting good public schools instead of creating ways to fund private corporations to deliver poor private education. This administration should invest in our public schools, improve public education, and improve our communities and our children's lives. We cannot be the #1 place for families if we do not protect our families, and public safety is always paramount to the Georgia Senate Democratic Caucus. As a former prosecutor, I understand that we must punish criminals and protect the innocent where necessary. Where necessary, we support strong, common sense anti-gang legislation and legislation that protects the public from criminals. But we also must protect our children and families from gun violence. That is why we have proposed common sense gun legislation, red flag laws, laws to take guns away from domestic violence abusers. Yet this administration and the Republicans refuse to promote good legislation that will protect our families from gun violence. Lastly, when we talk about being the #1 state for families, we must recognize that all people must be treated fairly. We will continue to promote and fight for a woman's decision about her body and reproductive choice, and we will protect the humanity of all of our citizens, and we will not allow cultural war issues to distract us from our vision. Our vision is clear. Under our leadership, there will be no longer two Georgias. We will be one Georgia that is based on family, community, faith, love, and a desire to do what is right for every citizen. And above all, we always put you, your family, and your community over corporate profits. Let's continue this journey together, knowing that our vision will occur and Georgia will be the #1 state for families in the greatest nation on earth. Thank you. God bless Georgia, and God bless the United States of America.